I'm looking for it. Hello. Welcome back to school. This is gonna be more or less of an update on everything. One, my ears really clogged up. It's been clogged up for like 2 months or so. Two, I think my ankle got re-sprained. That's what everyone is saying, doctors and people. That's why I haven't been practicing. Three, I have a whole bunch of homework to do. Since teacher's back from holiday, he says that he's going to try to be more on top of things now that he doesn't have holidays and stuff going on. So his first attempt is for me to get all of my homework, like everything, caught up. The arithmetic, the reading and writing, everything that I have, like homework wise, caught up. So, this is going to be a video that's going to kind of cover for me and for him and for you guys, I guess, of what homework I have. Today is a Thursday, so I need to have it done by tomorrow. He didn't say when, so I guess whenever I get it done, I get it done. But it has to be done by Friday. Like before Saturday? I don't know. Alright, so let's take a look and see what we have for homework. Okay, so these are the blocks. In class, starting with mathematics, we finished up the section of 11 in this book. So, let me see here. Is there a lesson page here? I don't see a lesson page. I think the last lesson page in here is 24. Yeah. So this is lesson 24. This is my homework assignment that I have to do. On top of that, I have to do all of the other previous lessons that go with this chapter. So, yeah. So, this book can go on the shelf. We're done with it until we get to the next section that deals with number 12. So, homework. These are books we're going to work through. Oh, which reminds me. Teacher says if I get my homework done, then we get to use the blocks in class. So, this is the section or the book we're going to work through in class. It's the next book on the list. And here we have all these fun, I guess, dominoes or tiles. I don't know what you want to call these. But I was looking at these and I says, oh, we can use the blocks with these. And he says, only if you get caught up on your homework. So, yeah. So, like for this first one, we could use the 10 block and the 1 block. And that would cover pretty much all these equations. And then this one, we could use the 9 block and the 2 block. And so on and so forth. So, that would be exciting. That would be a lot more fun than having to write them out on the blackboard. Because we did this sort of stuff on the blackboard before I got the blocks. But now we have the blocks. But I guess he's using the blocks as an incentive for me to get my homework done. Because, yeah, I do like playing with the blocks. Okay, so this is going to be for class next week. And then this is actually a teacher's manual for this set of books. But in general, this is the book. I wrote things out by hand. But if you remember, there's blocks in here too. So I could use blocks to do these homework and to better understand how they're done. I don't know if they would work with that, but yeah. But there's blocks in here, so I can use blocks. Yeah, that's a lot of writing. Yeah, this is a writing book, so when I do my homework, I would write these all out in my black arithmetic book. But that's for next week. This week, let's put that over there. And so we got the blocks. I looked through my assignment book in arithmetic. I don't have the homework written out, which is basically to do my homework, my catch-up homework. So this is what we did in class, and then I would put down homework assignment, late work, or pretty much all of this stuff. So teacher did say that I could use blocks with doing these, so that would be exciting. But I do have a bunch of book work and copy work from old tests and things that I have to write out, which I'm not very fond of, but it's something he likes to set, so that's what I do. So I have copy work and I have book work, and I can use the blocks, so that'll be exciting. So as far as, and I also got these too. Let's go through the books first. As far as the homework book goes, I have 3 books. 2 of them I'm going to work with through in Braille, and the other one is going to be a writing book, like using pen and paper. Basically, with the homework books, there's one book that we do orally, so I don't have to do any writing. And then there's 2 books that I work through using Braille to reinforce Braille concepts and things. And then there's 2 books that I do using paper and pen to kind of give me a break from Braille. But as we go through these books, more and more Braille will be utilized. Okay, so this, for stuff like this, I'll probably just write out the stuff, like the numbers in Braille. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of these I would just write out the numbers in Braille. And then just use the actual arithmetic signs. I thought my cat was okay. So here, like 6 from 7, I'll just write it out as 7 minus 6. But yeah. And I could probably use the blocks on these. Yeah, I can use the blocks. Teacher says I can use the blocks. So that would be kind of a little bit more exciting. Stuff like this. Yuck. But it's going to be written out in Braille, which is probably good, because it'll give me lots of practice with Braille. And then this is where I would stop at. So this is one part of my homework. Put that over there. This is basically like Braille all the way. There's no wiggle room, because it's all slate work, basically. So this, I need to do lessons 18 to 24. So I'd have to fill in the problems, fill in, wherever the blanks are, things like that. And then I'd stop at that lesson there. But either way, that's a lot of Braille work too. This is going to be covered when we move on to the section that deals with 12. So that's all Braille work. And this book is going to be a writing book, like how to write it in my arithmetic notebook that I keep all the assignments and things in. So this one, I'd basically just write out everything. I think this one has 5 pages, but I don't know. I'd have to figure out how to break up my lessons so I'm not like burning myself out. Obviously, waiting for last minute to do stuff is not a way of doing stuff. And then I would stop at this page because that begins a new number of the number 12. So when we move on to 12, then I would do that page. But this is all covering the number 11. And then there comes the flashcards. I don't know when I did this, but one day I says I need to get the flashcards organized. Like really, really organized. So that's what I did. This pile here is all of the additions and subtractions that equal 11. Why is 10 less 1 in here? Oh. These might be all the cards. Yeah, these are all the cards. So these are all the ones that cover all the way to 8, 9, 10. Yeah. But the stack that's more on top are the more recent ones, 11. So when I go through these, I might do the 11s first. Because those are the weakest ones as far as I know. And then figuring out the other ones, because these are all the ones that I should know. These are all the ones that we covered in year 1. Like knowing what 6 and 2 are, and things like that. 8 and 3. I should know those. Well, wait, 8 and 3 is 8, 9, 10, 11. 8 and 3 is 11. 7 and 3. Yeah. So, going through these, this batch dealing with 11, this batch dealing with everything else. Kitty, kitty. My cat is meowing up a storm. So, I gotta work through those. We put a grade percentage of 5. No, I think this is 10%. I don't know if that's big or not, but we threw that for grades. And then this is all the equations of beta, of the division and the multiplication that equal 0 and 1. I don't know. I haven't done these yet, so this will be a little exciting. It's kind of weird how they have these. The division ones are really weird because they printed them kind of not weird, but they're just printed interestingly. Like it makes sense, but when you actually put them in line with all these other ones, they don't line up very nicely. But these are the division and the multiplication one, to kind of get me thinking about that stuff, because we are doing those. They do appear, and at the end of the, at the end of this section of the course, beta, we're going to do more of these at the end of this stuff, at the end of like 11 to 100 or whatever. So those are those, which I will have to work through those when I can. So that covers mathematics. For reading and writing, we did lessons 8 and 9 in class. So those are what I'll be working on for homework, which is pretty straightforward. I also have a new contraction, the word can. And then these are all the letters. Luckily, I don't have to write out the letters, but the word can, like the contractions, I have to write out can, like CAN, and then the contraction for can, which is just the letter C. Write that out 20 times, which isn't really that bad in Braille. But that's just a way of like reinforcing these contractions. And then, of course, we haven't really figured out how to review the old ones, but we should probably figure out how to review the old ones, because as we add more, reviewing the old ones are going to be important. But that is the word can. As far as the book work, this is what we did in class, which is just a bunch of Braille pages. Here. This is lesson 8, I think. Yeah. So this is lesson 8, which we covered a bunch of, these are names. Beta. Let me figure out what's wrong with the cat real quick. So this is the lesson that we covered in class. There's the word can. I should have it written here, but I don't. This is the new book that actually lines up with what teacher has, so it's easier for us to follow together. Lesson 8 was long. I think lesson 8 was 2 pages long. So we did that. And lesson 9 was basically a continuation of the rest of lesson 8. They should just turn this into lesson 9, because I don't know. It's weird. I didn't write the book, but yeah. So that's my writing and reading. I'll have to read through these words. Looking ahead, lesson 11 is like, no, lesson 10 is really long. So that'll be looking forward for next time we have class. So that is my writing and reading, is going through lesson 8 and 9, and then the new contraction of can. We're almost done with the first section, which I don't know if you guys saw this. I wrote out in the front of the book, and it's in the agenda too, but I wrote out all the different lessons and how far we are from the different readers. So when I bought this book, it came with the readers that go with it. So that was exciting. So we have little reading books that we can use. I don't know if we're gonna dictate those or if he wants me to write those out in advance and then read them in class. I don't know. We haven't got that far yet to really talk about it, but we're on lesson 8 and 9, which is here. So we're in the middle of this section. I should mark off these as we go, but I think I'll just leave them alone because I mark them off in the textbook or in the, in the homework book over there. But we're almost to the first reader, so that'll be exciting. So that covers reading and writing. I think I might do that first because it's easier. Anything to put off mathematics. All right. The next thing as far as homework or whatnot we're doing is dealing with music literacy and organ, which all my organ stuff is in my book bag. It hasn't moved since the last time I was in practicing. Due to a re-sprain of my foot, which surprisingly, I guess if you re-sprain your foot, you don't really feel anything except the swelling and stuff. Like, it's not like the first time, because the first time you sprain your foot, it hurts. But yeah, I'm thinking it got resprained when I was practicing, or doing something in the garage or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so that's why I'm not posting anything for music practice, because I just haven't been into practice. I'm trying to get my swelling to go down for the foot. But as far as music literacy, currently teacher and I are going through this little book for basically a education for teachers, so that he understands what the music symbols are as he's looking at them. Like, I don't know, probably a horrible example. Like, if he were looking at something like this, he would be able to identify, okay, that's in the treble clef, that's in the, whatever key. These are crotchets, and these aren't really crotchets. These are quavers. He would be able to identify what's going on. He could tell, okay, that's a scale. These notes going down, that's a scale. So obviously we're not at this part of the book, but in general, if he were to look at stuff like this, say last year at this time, he would have no clue what anything is. But we have gone through up to chapter 4. Whoops. I didn't itch. And my eyeball. I went to itch and I totally knocked you guys. We went up to lesson 4. Lesson 1 basically talked about, or chapter 1 I should say, talked about in general what music was, simple stuff. Chapters 2 and 3 talked about the treble and the bass clef and the different octaves. And chapter 4, let me get to chapter 4. Chapter 4 dealt with notation rhythms. So we just covered that this week. We just covered chapter 4. And teacher wants me to give him more or less like a little quiz or a little test during the first part of class. To kind of help him pull back stuff out of his brain, so that he has an idea of what he knows and what he, what we may need to review. So, like, I could write out this note, and I could ask him what that was. Oh, that's not a note. That's a word, the. Okay. I think that's a the. Yeah, that's a the. Yeah, so I could write out this note, say here by my thumb. And I could ask him, what is the name of this note? I could ask him, like, how many minims are in the space of one semibreve? Or how many crotchets are in the space of one minim? Stuff like that, so that he kind of understands how that works. Asking about actual note names on the staff, like, that's a horrible example. Like this, asking him what note this is, or even which octave it's in. The indication of octaves is really, really important for Braille. In print music, it really doesn't matter because it's all more or less spatial. But in Braille, because Braille does not use treble and bass clef notation type stuff, we use specifically octave marks. And basically you put down your pitch, But before you put that pitch down, you put a symbol that indicates which octave on the keyboard or which octave on the staff it's in. So, for example, this E here would be the fourth octave. This C up here would be the fifth octave. So if I were pointing to this note and asking teacher, which octave is this in, this will better help him to help me if I'm having troubles with a symbol that's before a note. Oh, well, I know it's the pitch A or the pitch La, but I don't know which octave it's in because I don't know the octave symbol. He could then help in that regards and saying, oh yeah, that's in the fourth octave, so she must be looking at the fourth octave mark. So yeah, and the same is true obviously with the upper notes, and then with the bass clef notes, being able to identify the different octaves here, knowing that this is the second octave, this one down here would be the third or the first octave, so on and so forth. And then just understanding, the dots and the tie, being able to know, like, the dot adds 1/2 the value of the note it's next to, which this book actually says you could add 3 dots. So I'm guessing you can add more than 2 dots. Yeah, which is interesting. You don't see those too often, but so that's kind of what we're going through with music. I think we're probably just going to continue working our way through this book. Teacher seems to like it, which is good. For the longest time, he was really nervous about this subject because he didn't know anything. But now he's learning stuff and he's actually enjoying it. So that's really neat. So we're probably just going to continue through this book. As far as like Braille, as far as switching from, me, the student teaching teacher, how to read music, when we flip over to Braille, I have 2 ideas, but because we haven't really talked about that, we're still in the learning phases for teacher, which is fine. I have 2 different ideas. One of them is using a book that is already designed, like it's already like made up for students learning Braille music. It's an okay book. I think it would be a good thing to do as far as like getting our feet wet with the actual Braille, because the Braille music would be new to me as much as it is for teacher. I know like notation symbols, like I could tell you how to form do. I can tell you how to form crotchets and things like that. But when it comes to actually reading the music, it's going to be a slow process, because just like when you're learning to read literature, you have to learn the alphabet. You have to be able to know what the letter A looks like, what the letter B looks like, what the letter C looks like, and so on and so forth. You have to you have to know that stuff. It's hard to read if you don't know the names of the symbols you're even looking at. So if you're looking at a symbol and it looks like this, I'm holding up 2 fingers, and you don't know what that symbol is. Let's see, is that even seeable? I think it's seeable. I can't tell. Okay, I think it's seeable. Yeah. Okay, so if you can't tell what this symbol is in your literature, you're going to have a hard time reading as far as I don't know it. I don't even know what that symbol is. Versus, okay, I know this is the letter V. And I know that the V makes a V sound. So having that will give you a huge leg up when it comes to reading VAL, which was a reading word that we had in class. So being able to identify and know what it is that you're looking at. So I'm thinking when we do start the transition into Braille music, although like in my brain, I can tell you what do is. I could tell you that it's, I could say it's the letter D, but in reality, we'd just use the dot numbers because we don't want to confuse the music code and the literacy code. That's the other thing, because these use the same symbols, you don't want to confuse the codes. So I would say the letter C or do is dots 145. I can tell you that because I've seen so many charts and I've seen it in charts a zillion times. That's how I know it. But if teacher were to give me a musical example that had like a pentatonic scale, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, if he gave me those notes in, whatever order, and I'm looking through them, I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm feeling the first note. Oh, this is do. Then I'm feeling the next note. Oh, this is re. Or this is the letter D. Or, feeling the next note. If I'm still feeling notes and I don't know, I'm having to think for a while on what they are, there needs to be that rudimentary stuff going back of, writing out the Braille symbols. Okay, I'm going to set you homework. I want you to write out the pitch for do in Braille like 20 times or something. Or I want you to write out the pitch for fa, 20 times. Initially, I was going to say 50 times. Who knows? He may do that. But just that recitation or that repetition of writing it, and possibly even reading it. Like, I don't know how this would work, but I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now. Writing out a string of lines and then putting in one Braille symbol of a pitch and then being able to know what that symbol is. That would be a good way of identifying notes without having to have the pressure of, reading all these notes and figuring out what they are. It would also help with tracking and things like that. And then gradually, using metronome and stuff like that to increase reading. So that would be like pre-music reading. Like I said, I've got this Braille book that uses like children's tunes, like Mary Had a Little Lamb, things like that. Lots of children's tunes. I think this might be a good way of, quote unquote, getting our feet wet. And the other option I have is some hodgepodge of, materials that I've thrown together with the best of my music reading, sight singing textbooks. I don't know, using the rhythm book, using the manual pratique. I'm trying to think what other books I've got. The progressive sight singing books. But those books, doing it going through and using actual music books, using a syllabus that I created would require a lot more or less preparation time, because again, I'd have to write out the notations and all that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know how we're going to go through the Braille stuff, but for the time being, we're just going to continue to work through the little music, the Catechism of the Rudiments of Music, and yeah. But as far as all the other stuff, the reading, the writing, and the mathematics, that's like stuff that I have to do on my own, which I'm not looking forward to it, but it has to get done. So that pretty much concludes stuff that we are working on, stuff I have to work on. I spent most of yesterday sleeping. Like, we had class, and I kid you not, like, shortly after class, I just, like, totally fell asleep. I didn't wake up until, like, 11 o'clock in the morning. And then I think I fell asleep again in the afternoon, but I don't know. But I do need to run out and get milk, so I'll probably do that. And then, hopefully, that will help as far as just getting out, because I haven't been out because I've been resting my foot. I have gobs of pillows on the floor next to me over here. Well, you guys can't see that. I've got a bunch of pillows down here. Yeah, right there. I have a bunch of pillows I had propped up here to help my so as far as everything else, I think it's okay. My music practice is officially behind by many days. But I don't want to do that until my foot gets better, like to a point where it's not swollen, because it's still kind of swollen. And I got a thing going on this weekend. I don't know if I'll do that. I notice when I put my foot down, like if I'm sitting or if I'm standing for, not even just 15 minutes. Like I was making lunch or whatever a couple days ago. It's like I cannot be on my foot that long, because it gets all tingly, kind of. And well, that's not good. So, yeah, I don't know. But, that is kind of where things are at. I'll probably be posting a bunch of homework videos for the next 2 days. If I get everything done by Saturday, then that means I can have like a whole weekend without having homework over my head, which is kind of cool. But yeah. But then, I don't know. But as far as music practice, I don't know. I gotta wait till my foot gets better. So, yeah. I think that covers everything I want to cover. So I'm gonna run over and get some milk, and probably go back to sleep for a little bit, because I'm a little tired, but I don't know. Alright. If you want to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget, I gotta find the bell. Darn it. Here it is. Ring the notification bell for all notifications.